Bob, the Pirate softball team opened the season at St. Martin's, a Division II school. The Pirates were right there. You won one out of the four games, and you were right there in the other games. Just give us your recap of what you saw from an opening weekend.
Even just as you said that, I kind of got goosebumps. We were really, really proud of how they were able to get out and play and perform. We haven't had the opportunity to even be outside, but maybe a day and a half leading up to that. That's a really I mean, they've got a really good coaching staff, so it's one thing I initially look at. So I knew that the strategies within the game were going to be difficult, and I didn't want it to be out there too much because I didn't want to psych our own team out, but it's as good of pitching as we're going to face, aside from seeing NNU this weekend, but that's as good of pitching as we're going to face. So for them to come out, perform the way they did, even the errors that we made, with the exception of a couple of base running and some mental things, Steve, the errors that were made were things that, those are details we have not just been able to practice. Even in the field house with the space that we have, the fielding the fly balls, the depth perception, the cutoffs, the distances, those were almost errors that you can be okay with as a head coach right now. The energy they came out with, I was so pleased with. I did not have a feeling one way or the other as to whether we could win a game this weekend or this past weekend, but I did feel like we could at least show well, and we did more than that. They actually exceeded my expectations. So overall, extremely pleased with how they performed. And if we get that effort this year, what I told the team is they've set the bar. They can at least perform there, and that was a really good level of performance.
Do you feel like that there's an opportunity then for this team to take what they experienced this past weekend and apply it immediately this coming weekend, that there's that much growth potential in 1 week's time?
Yes, I do, and I think that's the expectation, and that's why we're doing these games. And again, if we perform at this level as the season goes along, we're going to be right there inside a really well-coached, a really good Northwest Conference, and I'll be able to look back and probably send some thank you notes to St. Martin's Northwest Nazarene for helping build us. We got everything we wanted out of that game. Like I said, even the game within the game, the strategies, the changes, the things that some teams can take a season to kind of get. We got a lot in one game. I expect that same thing this weekend. What we need to do now is make sure we keep up that energy and that anxiousness and that intensity and that excitement of wanting to get out and play. We're going to need all of that. And so, yeah, my expectations now are even higher. And I think all coaches would see that. You performed at one level, now we're there. Now how do we get better? You've got to do that each and every week. I was extremely excited with our pitching and our in-game leadership, and I would be really disappointed if we fell backwards, because those are controllables.
What do we know about NNU? What challenges will they present that are different or similar to St. Martin's?
Well, I'll just throw it out there. We see even better pitching, I think. Where we came off of really, really good pitching staff at at St. Martin's, we knew we could really look at a couple of pitches, and our hitters could be ready for that. Now we're going to see pitchers that can really spot the ball really well, and a deep staff. This is also still a team that's figuring it out. A couple of years ago, they were one of the best in their conference. Last year got shortened. They lost a lot of seniors a couple of years. They're rebuilding in a sense a little bit, but they have enough leadership, and not just pitchers that can hit spots and pitch to correct contact. They're pitchers that can strike you out. So that's one we're on that right now. Our hitters have got to be better. We can't win games if we don't put a lot of runs on the board. And in some situations, we just have to put enough runs on the board. So we're going to see that. The only difference maybe is potentially their lineup isn't as intense as St. Martin's. I'm not saying that our pitchers can take a break, but they have a couple of real significant hitters that, full disclosure, we just may not even try to go at because they're that good. I love this level of play that we're being able to see that normally in most years we don't get the opportunity to because we're so Division III intensive. It's a real blessing for our team to be able to go and get these games.